Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. It's that time of the week again where we get a brand new online time trial. Whilst on the surface this looks like a fairly standard online time trial that may not be too difficult, it does take place on a track that really isn't that much featured in Gran Turismo 7, meaning that it might not be that familiar to most of us. Now, because this track doesn't feature that often, I would say it does have a bit of a higher difficulty curve to begin with. So let's have a look then. This is the lap time challenge at Goodwood Motor Circuit featuring the Renault Megane RS Trophy from 2011. So heading into the specifics, as always, top 3%, 5% and 10% at Goodwood Motor Circuit with an entry period of the 12th of the 12th until the 26th of the 12th. Usable tyres are sports hards, wide body prohibited and the same with nitrous. The specified car is the Renault Megane RS Trophy from 2011. BOP is on mid-speed, car settings are specified, track limits, those are going to be the standard normal track limits, and shortcut and wall collision will invalidate your lap time. So let's move on to the next section, which is going to be general tips and tricks for this online time trial. And well, to get started, I'm going to give you the most obvious one of the bunch, and that has to be turning off those assists. Just trust me, you do not want them on this car. And well, front wheel drive cars in Gran Turismo 7 are pretty terrible with them on. I did do a lap or two with the assists on just to see how much slower it was going to be in the Megane, and it was incredibly off the pace. This track is incredibly fast and flowing, and having those assists light up like a Christmas tree is going to do nothing but completely ruin your lap time. Even if you're not confident, it shouldn't take you too long to get used to the way that a front wheel drive car handles without those assists on. Next up is using a manual transmission. Again, a little bit like the other assists, having the automatic on is going to absolutely kill your time. The gear changes are just not quite right, and honestly you don't have to do that many at Goodwood, so you want to have full control over them. Next up, we're going to head over into the menus. Now, before you actually enter, you can go ahead and boot up a replay from the global rankings. This way you can see if there's any cuts, what specific gears you need to be in, and just learn from the fastest players, so you can go ahead and try and copy that yourself. The next thing you can do is when you actually enter the event is go to the ranking board and load up a ghost. This way you can kind of test where you're at. I recommend a ghost that is as close as possible to your specific fastest time. Okay, let's talk about the car then, because I think this is a key thing to this online time trial. Of course, there's no choice in what car we have to use here. It has to be the Renault Megane RS Trophy from 2011. So to begin with, this is not the race car version. There is one of those, and I believe it does run in Group 4. Unfortunately, we are left with the road-going version, and it is a lot different. This is a 2-litre turbocharged car, putting out 261 brake horsepower. It is incredibly heavy, and you can feel that weight there at 1,387 kilograms. With a front wheel drive layout and a pretty awkward suspension, it does make for a car that really you have to get used to. Now, the bottom 3 points might seem pretty random, but honestly this is something that I've noticed since the physics changes with update 1.49. Front wheel drive hot hatch cars that have a fair bit of weight to them, so a lot of the modern ones, tend to have this very awkward feeling suspension where it feels like it's floating about constantly and always on the move. It means that under braking it really doesn't feel like it's planted whatsoever and gives you this really floaty feeling, so just be aware of that. Let's move into our fastest lap then. So I'll take you through my personal fastest lap, and I'll also point out some of the more tricky and awkward sections. Now, to begin with, at Goodwood it's a super simple start finish straight. However, you're then going to come into the first awkward section, and there's not really much to pick from in terms of a marker, but I recommend halfway between the arrow and the 50 sign. Brake hard, lift off the throttle, and then start bringing that throttle control in. This way you should get the car pointing in the right direction, fully accelerate out, and then you're going to be flat out for a good while before the next awkward point of the track. Going well through there is going to give you a massive head start on a decent lap. The next section is absolutely flat out, so don't worry about braking or lifting here, and this is where it's going to get incredibly awkward. There's no real key marker here. I use the spectators on the left as my braking marker. I then brake incredibly hard, lift, bring the car up over the curb, try and get it to the right hand side, and then I'm going to brake hard once again. At this point I'm going to go into fourth gear, lift once again, and then use throttle control on the way out. If you get it wrong, there's a high chance you're going to end up in the grass on the right hand side, which I almost did, and it's going to completely ruin your lap. Then head over to the left, and once again you're going to be looking for your braking marker just before the 50 board. At this point, brake hard, get it into third, and short shift up to fourth. This way you're going to get a nice clean drive out of the corner for this huge long straight. Again, it's key to get that right if you want a fast lap. If you're slow out of there, you're going to lose a ton of time. So at this point, you're going to be absolutely flat out. Again, you don't need to brake on the left-hander, don't worry about that. You just want to plant the throttle and get yourself all the way to the end of this straight section. Now, bring yourself over to the left, and where that runoff area is, use the end of that as a braking marker. Brake hard, go down the gears. I take myself into fourth gear here. I then tap the brakes and get myself into third. Again, just to give the car that little bit extra rotation. Short shift up to fourth, and once again, get ready for exit. Now, this section here can be incredibly awkward, and it's very easy to hit the barriers. But you want to keep it in fourth, go left, and then you're going to try and run as wide as possible without invalidating your lap time. Again, it's all about carrying that momentum and speed, keeping it in fourth gear, and exit up across the line. My time was a 125.655. Whilst it certainly wasn't my potentially fastest lap that I could ever do, it was good enough for 25th in the world in the early hours of this morning. That 125.655 only just beaten narrowly, and it wouldn't take much of an improvement to begin going up that leaderboard. I'm sure it'll improve over the next couple of weeks at least. Now, in terms of Goodwood itself, as I mentioned, it's incredibly awkward to get your braking markers down, since it can feel almost barren at times in terms of key items to pick out to slam those anchors on. But again, if you rinse and repeat enough times, I'm sure you'll get this one nailed. So there we go, that is the new online time trial for Gran Turismo 7 for the next couple of weeks. And whilst it's definitely not the most inspiring in the world, I did have a good time with it, and I'm sure I'll go back to improve over the next couple of weeks or so. Don't forget to let me know how you guys got on in the comment section down below. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care, guys. Peace.